Welcome to another episode of I Wonder, Doctor.
Let's talk about how to heal heartburn, acid reflux, GERD.
The funny thing about this subject is that I sort of think that the message in America, or at least the one that's in my head, is that GERD isn't something you heal. GERD is something you repress. It's not healable.
That's right. You take the medication and that's it.
Yeah.
Yes, and of course, the wonderful thing is there's a lot you can do to identify the causes, the provocateurs, and address them. So I want to go into that list. And it's going to be a list. And sometimes these are individual things. What's really important for someone with GERD may not be the thing that's important for you, so you got to cherry pick, but address the list. Now here's a non-radical concept. Don't provoke it. For example, if you're in the midst of a GERD attack and you decide you want to continue on eating your spicy foods, your cayenne, your chilies, this is going to aggravate it. You got a burned surface in there and you're adding fire to the burned surface, it's going to hurt. What else does that? Alcohol will do it, caffeine will do it, nicotine will do it, acidic foods like tomatoes and orange juice will do it, and of course there's those foods that also may dilate, relax excessively that lower esophageal sphincter. Oh, we sure want to identify those and avoid those. Chocolate, onions, carbonated, fatty foods would stay in the stomach much longer and leave you much more vulnerable to reflux, to upchuck. Identify what can provoke it in your situation and don't do it.
So try eliminating it. If I eat some chocolate and then I have an episode, there's probably a relationship, at least there's a good chance that there is. So no brainer, don't eat the chocolate and see if that starts to help me not have episodes.
Chocolate and whatever else is on that list.
Right.
And you know, sometimes it's very apparent.
Yeah.
You have dinner, you just got to have a little extra dessert. You add the chocolate and you're an hour later you can tell, oops, that chocolate provoked me.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do it. And then you want to be able to identify those food allergies that can trigger, in the short run and in the long run, reflux illness. And you want to find foods that are beneficial, that are soft, that you can actually eat, that for sure they don't provoke you. And a common list there is melons and bananas and oatmeal and tofu and rice. And we don't know what's on your list, but find out what foods you feel very warm and friendly with. And is it going to make your diet more interesting during trying to cure heartburn? Not necessarily, but it's worth it. And then here's a big one. Everyone with GERD has got to learn this one. You reduce the size of any given meal, and you revert to small meals.
This is generally a healthy way to eat anyhow, right?
Absolutely it is.
Yeah.
And because you don't want to put too much in your stomach and call forth what acid you have, and then just the volume in your stomach gives more pressure to open up that lower esophageal sphincter and let leakage occur, and you really want to improve your digestion. You chew, chew, chew. This is the big takeaway. Chew, 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 chew. Because what you're going to do is you're really going to assist digestion. You're going to have that saliva, which is a bicarbonate, which is an acid neutralizer, mix in there. When that rolls down your esophagus in that bolus of food, it's going to be kind to your esophagus. And you're going to present small, relatively easy to digest particles to your stomach. So it's not going to call forth this need to do the whole meal by putting out hydrochloric acid to melt it, which it can't do anyway. And another important one, don't eat a big meal and then lie down. You're losing the power of gravity. You want gravity and you want to be upright so that your food tends to go downwards rather than have a chance to slosh up into that esophagus. In fact, many people notice that they can't have dinner any later than 3 hours before they're going to go to bed. Especially if you're in a healing process, you want to be sure and do that. You also want to avoid exercise for an hour or two after a meal. That blood is going to your intestinal tract. When you eat a meal, you want digestion to be successful. You don't want to have, all of a sudden, you got to divert a whole bunch of blood and thus slow down the digestive process because you want your muscles to be working. It's what your mom told you. Don't go swimming right after a meal, right?
Yeah.
And then, ultimately, you may need to restore the hydrochloric acid. And that's a process we're going to describe in detail because that's a technical one and a tricky one. And then if you remember in a previous video, I said one of the best things, one of the greatest secrets for one of the things that you can do with GERD is to raise the head of your bed 6 inches. That doesn't mean sit up in bed after you eat. That means raise the head, put it under 4 2x4s stacked. That's 6 inches.
Put that under your bed to raise
Under
the head
of your bed.
Yeah.
So you're sleeping on an incline. People who do this, so many people go, oh my God, that's amazing. That helps me sleep, because GERD can really get active in the night, and then you lose sleep. It's a real troublesome thing. And then how you actually have to heal GERD in some instances, if you got that H. pylori infection, it needs to be identified and addressed. That's all part of the process.
Got it. Thanks.